When the mics get hot and the comments fly, he laughs at the noise and he calls it live. One more round, let the sparks go wide. Spin City standing on the right side. Spin City, Spin City. He gon' play it safe. Spin City, bringing fire to the face. Maga on the mic, and he says what he means. Spin City, shaking up the scene.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. We are back with another panel. Mr. Balderson is here. Good evening, Mr. Balderson. How are you this evening? What say you, sir?
The heat's supposed to be done today, so hopefully not overworked and overheated tomorrow.
Yeah, sure, I know. It's been overly hot here. But it is summer. Well,
we've been hitting 110. We've been hitting 110 for about the last 5 days.
No, it hasn't been that. Well, we got an interesting one tonight, Mr. Balderson. I will give you the prompt or I'll read the prompt and you can take it from there. I'll bring our esteemed guests. We have some in the back ready to come up and challenge your logic, sir. So the prompt is the occult roots of New Age philosophy in modern public schools. We have in the back, we have the God's favorite, and we have Geyer Digital and my ride or die, Mr. Clay. And of course, we've got Mr. Krautmick. So, Mr. Benjamin Balderson, it is your topic. What say you, sir?
So, anybody that's not familiar with it, we'll give a quick rundown. The Theosophical Society was the baby of Madame Blavatsky. And Madame Blavatsky took in a number of works. She very much like Crowley. She took in one of the works that most people aren't familiar with that she based a lot of her thoughts on was Anacalypsis by Gottfried Higgins. And a book I just absolutely despise. And so did every other occultist of the time. So she started developing her own personal philosophies and developed the Theosophical Society, which she then passed down to Alice Bailey. Alice Bailey was the head of the Lucifer Trust, which they changed to the Lucius Trust, which then they changed to another name that I can't think of off the top of my head. So they became the educational, spiritual, and financial wing of the UN. And this is how a lot of these different weird programs started showing up. Things like the Great White Brotherhood, which is literally just all of your favorite philosophical and mythological figures put up in a place called Shambhala, where they're all just kind of waiting for the world to be fuckered just enough so they can come save us, because we aren't quite suffering enough for that. They need to wait until the suffering is at its supreme before they come down and help us out on that. They also developed the out of Africa theory, and they also were the hard push on feminism back in the day. Come on in, Tiberius. We would definitely like to hear from you on this. Let's see here. Drop the link, brother. So through all this, they've been the way that Theosophical Society really works is they have no problem subsuming any other religion, any other culture, and they will just basically it's a thing called paralleling, where they're like, are things just like yours, just like yours, just like yours, and then they do this offshoot and turn on you. So, but they have been very good about getting into all these different groups. And again, being one of the heads of the UN, they've certainly helped in or not helped, worked their way into the school systems, into everything like that, which is why we see kids now coming out with very new age thoughts. So I got an article here called Teaching Theosophy Through Education. And I'll pull that up real quick for you guys. So let's see, how long is this? That's too fucking long to read. That's for damn sure. So what do we got here? We don't need to read the introduction into it. What we mean by through education also begs exploration. Who educates? Who could say that every person, object, and experience educates?
Ben, if
Yeah,
you don't want to read the whole thing, just go up to the abstract and read that.
Where
It'll give you a summary. It should be at the top, and it'll give you a summary of the paper. It should, if it's written properly. Oh, this is from the maybe this is just a regular news article. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
All right, thank you though. Basic concepts of the ancient wisdom. Let's look at the basic concepts of ancient wisdom and consider how they could be explored through education in schools. I've taken a list from Anna Kennedy Winter's book, The Basic Ideas of Occult Wisdom. While all these ideas can be readily investigated in a family situation, some of them are problematic within school systems that are either strongly secular or that promulgate only the orthodox views of the most Christian churches today. So you can see here they're talking about different states of matter, which most people would assume that that's something you're going to learn in normal science. Progressive development, we learn from our experiences. Periodicity or cycles, these are reflected in the seasons and our different focuses at life stages. Justice, reincarnation, life in the subtler worlds, the goal of life, the brotherhood which watches over the world. We just talked about that. Great people. The occult path, blah blah. Developing educational understandings and dispositions through theosophical living. Teaching values. So you can see that they're 24% of male students said they had taken a weapon to school at least once in the past year. 73% of both male and female students said they had hit a person in the last year because kids hit each other when they're angry. No shit. 47% acknowledged they had stolen something from a store. That seems awful high. Take only one God is watching. So this is all you can see. This is things that they're trying to push into the system. A lot of them, like anything else, when you first start pushing it into a system, actually sounds fairly benign. Sounds like good stuff. This is it doesn't matter whether it was the mustache man, whether it was Mao, whether it was any of these people, the things that they were saying always sounded reasonable. And that was where they sold it. You start looking at all the different things that the Theosophical Society has done and pushed throughout the years, and you start realizing that you definitely don't want them getting your kids in their early life. The Krishnamurti, that shit's hilarious, where they thought he was like the new Jesus, and then he was like, no, I'm not. That shit was hilarious if you ever read their histories. But
Alrighty, Mister. We're gonna go We're gonna go around the circle, Mister Clay. Your opening thoughts, sir.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know as much about the history or the historicity of Ben's claims here of the occult, and not necessarily the occult itself, but these
I don't know why
theosophical
Spin,
societies.
I don't know why Spin put this on me. Like I was making this claim. Spin pulled up like 4 different prompts, and I picked one. And I said,
Oh,
this
okay.
one sounds good. So I wasn't making the claim. I don't know why he acted like that's what was happening there. Like everybody
Okay.
jump on Ben. He's making a claim. Like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. So just to
It's all
to
Ben's
really
fault.
kind of
Jody's not here.
continue from the viewpoint of the articles that are being discussed. Is that a better way to put this? More of a discussion here. Okay, very good. We don't really have debates over here as a thing. Every once in a blue moon, maybe. But anyway, so this point about the Theosophical Society is not like I don't know as much probably about the historicity behind what Ben is talking about, but just going into it, listening to what he was mentioning, doing a little bit of prior looking up things, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Pledge of Allegiance. When children are taught early on in school that they would say the Pledge of Allegiance in school, saying the Pledge of Allegiance, you're already mentioning one nation under God. You're pledging allegiance to an item. There's plenty of people who, as grown adults, would recognize that as being idolatry, and it's also not accurate according to many belief systems. One nation under God. That's literally not Christian theology for sure. So this reminds me of that. The basic bringing in a certain philosophical or theosophical, actually would be a better terminology for it, theosophical ideal in order to further someone's agenda, if you will, rather than teaching them the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, history of the world, things that actually happen, things that are actually real, which I feel like should pretty much be the basics. It shouldn't go into anything else unless there's like electives or you get into like furthering education. And that's where the schools, especially when it comes to the grade school, I believe are taking it a little bit too far. If a parent wants their children to learn something, forcing them to go to public schools, forcing the children to go to public schools, you can do that, but then you can't bring your own ideological preferences into it and say, now you also must conform to this ideology.
Very good, Clay. Thank you, sir. And Geyer, what you got to say, sir?
Oh man, I think this is exactly what the DSA does in Portland with all their ideologies they try to instate. This has been going on since I think the Romans. This even goes back to biblical. It's just another re-education and rebranding for me. That's what I think about it, and it's globalist. This does come from I've seen that article. I have a hard time pronouncing this word, theosophical. Did I do it right?
Yeah. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. So theosophical. I read that article. I'm interested in this topic actually because this isn't just like an all of a sudden thing of putting random things into our schools. Our kids have been indoctrinated since we started schools in the first place. I mean, that's what schools started from, was Catholicism. And so that was just to try and get those kids to believe in a way that those adults believed in, so that no other belief system would come in and try and take it. But do I agree with this? No, I don't, because I think this is a globalist option. I think that since the UN has been involved in this, I don't want my kids learning about certain things that aren't even true. They don't focus on truth anymore. And Ben brought it up too about that guy, where they believed he was Jesus, and then he came out and he said he wasn't Jesus. I mean, we have cults like that happen all over. We had one here in Oregon. Have had a couple of them here in Oregon, and they committed suicide.
Had the Rajneesh cult there.
Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
that took
so
over a whole county.
Yeah, they want to do not like it's they don't even focus on education anymore. It's just a rerouting of the brain. And they also, oh man, I'm talking too loud. I'm waking the baby up. They also, because this stuff actually gets me really riled up. I know a lot about this. So yeah, it's just an educational push promoting like a comparative religion rather than the one religion that is true and the only truth. They believe that not only one God is the true God, they have like a polytheistic kind of view, but it's based off of their own opinions. It's a cult. And people in our own government, the Democratic Socialists of America, communists, a globalist union, have infiltrated themselves and put themselves into certain branches in our government and departments in our societies, like the Department of Education. And it just leads to this. It's internal indoctrination. Our kids are fucked.
All right.
Thank you, Geyer. That was a good statement. And on you, Ant. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. On the Theosophic Society stuff, I'm still learning about that. I don't know enough about it to have an opinion at the moment. Hopefully by the end of the evening, I might be able to have something for you. But my attention in the schools have been more on the long march through the institutions. Those started really around turn of the 20th century when socialism, communism really started becoming popular ideas all throughout Europe, even here in the United States, Asia, and places. Like it was kind of like this new thing is becoming popular. So we had groups popping up here as well as other places in the world, and that did kind of give it some room to grow here. And then, of course, the Soviets like documented strategy of trying to institute or infiltrate our organizations in such a way by infiltrating our educational institutions. And that's been going on at least since the end of World War II.
Very good. Oh, you're not done? My bad.
Oh, yeah. And then what we see today, it's still some, even though the Soviets are long gone, their zombie indoctrination strategy still lives on and still consuming the soul of our academic institutions. And that's all I got.
Very good. Thank you, Ant. And Kraut Mick, what you got to say, brother?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me, both Ben and Spin. I'm kind of in Ant's boat right now. Periodically, you might see me looking down. I will be literally reading about the occult, the theosophical. What's the word?
Theosophical.
Okay, yeah. Reading about them as we're debating. So I guess I'll use this couple minutes to say hopefully we can bring a more open expansion to it, like Ant and Geyer just touched on, how more of a ideologies from the occult influences schools and things like that, then I'll be able to touch on them more. But Clay, I got one question to ask you, if that's okay with Spin. Did you mention that as a Christian conservative, both you and me are, did you implicate you don't believe religion should be taught in schools? Because I hold that view as well, and not many Christians conservatives do.
Yes, I did.
I did not know that. Yeah, I'm the same way, because I feel like that'll transform into propaganda. And who's to say, a Jewish guy goes to school and they're teaching Christianity? You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm surprised I met another one that holds that belief. But yeah, I yield my time. That's all I got.
Thank you, Kraut. And Big Bad Jody. Hope you're surviving the fires. What you got to say, brother?
I just got here, so I don't really know much about the topic, but I will say this. We need our kids to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and arm our teachers. I'll say that.
All right. And with that,
close
thanks
my
for coming
statement.
up, Tiberian. Appreciate it, Jody.
I don't know how to follow that, man. The Jody man has nailed it. I don't know much about what you were talking about in your intro, Ben, but if talking about like what is generally presented within public education as a whole, I can get on board with that conversation. There's a lot of different forms of instruction, indoctrination, and propaganda that our children are subjected to. Some of it, which I even agree with. Yeah, we can get into that conversation as the wider whole. But if we're talking about like the occult mysteries that here on the History Channel, I can't follow you on that one, man.
Well, the Theosophical Society, and this is something I said to Ant prior to the show. What's up, Howard? They are not really a cult. It's really piss poor occult. It's not great. It's not something you're going to have to learn about alchemy or anything like that to discuss it. They basically follow the New Age movement. So I'm going to read a couple other things just to help inform everybody. So Annie Besant is the most prominent historical figure who bridges early socialist activism, including the Fabian Society, and the top leadership in the Theosophical Society. Annie Besant, 1847 to 1933, before becoming president of the Theosophical Society in 1907, Besant was leading the British Socialists, a prominent speaker for the Fabian Society, and a champion for workers' rights, such as the 1888 London Match Girls strike. She later combined social reform with esoteric spirituality and Indian nationalism. Modern parallels. Other figures like esoteric historian Mitch Horowitz have noted personal involvement spanning both progressive socialist political groups, such as the Democratic Socialists of America Youth Section in the early 1990s, and the study of theosophy. So the connections that Geyer was attempting to make, that's all those connections. We look at the Fabian Society. The Fabian Society is a British left-wing political think tank founded in London, January 4th, 1884. Its goal is to advance democratic socialism. You know, these guys think they just came up with that fucking term last week. The Bernie bros, we're democratic socialists. It's a new thing. And social justice through gradual, peaceful, and reformist steps rather than by revolution. The name origin, named after the ancient Roman general Quintus Fabius Maximus, who used slow, patient, and delaying tactics to wear down his enemies. Early members include figures like George Bernard Shaw, Sidney and Beatrice Webb, H.G. Wells, and Annie Besant. Most of us has heard of most of those. The founding of the Labor Party. The group played a central role in helping create the United Kingdom's Labor Party in 1900 and remain affiliated with it as an independent socialist society. Key institutions. Early Fabians helped establish the London School of Economics and the leftist journal New Statesman. Their core ideas are gradualisms, believing that radical and permanent change happens best through a step-by-step legal reform and practical policy making, not sudden upheaval. State actions. Advocates for the public services, collective action, and reducing major gaps in wealth and power. The modern role. Functions today as a prominent membership-based think tank generating research on poverty, equality, and democratic reform. So these are all the things that the adults are talking about. And I was going to just read. They have 3 declared objectives. Universal brotherhood, to form a nucleus of the universal brotherhood of humanity without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste, or color. Comparative study, to encourage comparative study of religion, philosophy, and science. And then third, to investigate unexplained laws of nature and powers latent in humanity. So we can see where obviously that's fairly heavy in our, come on up, Caledonian, fairly heavily in our politics today. As Geyer mentioned, we have the whole Democratic Socialist movement, the whole DSA. These things, they didn't just start learning them. Like, again, we realize that the Bernie bros didn't found being a democratic socialist. We just told that started in 1900, and we see all these movements in between the 1880s and 1900. that are bringing us to the position we are today. And we can also see from their stated objectives and stated strategy that they have no intention on making large, very upheavaling changes, that they're going to go through a slow integration, which 100% means fucking teaching your kids, putting your kids through it. This is start them young. They will have the propaganda. They'll be the propaganda masters by the time they get old. So go ahead, Spin.
They already are, Ben. I mean, they watch TikTok. I mean, where does propaganda begin? Social media. You don't even have to turn Fox News, the communist news network on to get propaganda. Look on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. You know,
my fault. I thought you were done.
you know, and you know, Jody, I want to I want to touch on something he said. You know, it's all Jody's fault down there. That's his nickname, by the way. I agree. The Pledge of Allegiance should be said in school. And number one, that's where I learned the Pledge of Allegiance was in school. Every
Same.
morning you stood up, put your hand over your heart, and said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Yep. And then we
You know,
sang
I learned the Star Spangled Banner.
"This Land Is Our Land."
Oh, well, that we did that in music. Yeah, we did that in music class too.
My
mean-
school did that in the morning right after.
Oh, really?
After the flag, yeah.
Huh. We learned that in music class, but I mean the point is, I agree. Now, I'm okay with praying in school or learning a prayer, but you know, this is the culture of feelings, so not everybody's going to want to pray to God, right? So I have mixed feelings about that, but when I was in Catholic school, we prayed every day, like 3 times a day. So I mean,
Can I
but-
touch on that,
but-
Spin?
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and Clay is good with further explaining things, but me and Clay, you know, we share the same belief that religion shouldn't be taught in schools. And I don't know if you only prayed in the Catholic school you just brought up, but like if you have somebody that doesn't believe in God, or the Jewish kids go to school. And like, so what gives us the right to teach them a Christian God versus their Jewish God, or whatever, any other God? You know what I mean? Or somebody that doesn't.
I
believe in
agree,
God.
but like I said, and listen to what I said. I have very mixed feelings upon that because of the cultural, and maybe I didn't expand on it. And Clay, you can yell at me later. Because of cultural differences or distances or whatever. Yeah. One would have mixed feelings about that, but if you're going to a Catholic school, I mean, you are expected to, you know, learn the Catholic religion. And they,
I mean, a
teach you-
Catholic school is a private religious school. That's not
right. That's I wasn't saying, I wasn't trying to allude that it was a public school, Ben. I was just saying, I mean, if you're going to a Catholic school, you're gonna hold on, guy. I'll get to you. I see your hand, buddy. You are expected to learn the Catholicism, and they teach Catholicism in Catholic school, plus all your other academics that you need. But I do have mixed feelings about that. Go ahead, Geyer.
Yeah, so in Colossians 2, 8, it tells me, actually, it tells all of us. Let me find it. But now ye also pull off the anger. Hold on, no, I'm in the wrong one. Basically, what Colossians 2:8 is telling us is that all this is to venture away from God and try and disprove him. But every time the Bible proves it wrong, just like in Colossians 2:8, it says, beware lest anyone cheat you through philosophy and empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the basic principles of the world, and not according to Christ. So therefore, there you go, right? So that's Paul writing, right? Colossians, that's Paul writing to the churches, if I'm not mistaken. Or right, he's writing a letter. This is Paul writing a letter. And I believe this is to children. And he's telling the children, hey, don't let the serpent, like in where we can go all the way back to Genesis 2 and go back to Genesis 2 and don't let the serpent, let me find Genesis 2. Genesis 3:4-5. Then the serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat and your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So there's so many times throughout the Bible that this kind of just disproves everything. That this theolistical, whatever it is, I can't pronounce the word.
Theosophical
Ideology is trying to put upon our children. This is all an attack on our children and trying to instate something, because we're going to be dead in 100 years. You know, most of us will be dead in 60 years. Some of us in this panel might even be dead in 20 years, just how old we are.
Fuck right off.
Working
It's
too
okay.
hard
I'm
for
still
it.
coming back to gnaw on your bones as a zombie.
Exactly.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm here till
Brain.
Thursday until my Wi-Fi cuts out.
These are the brains eventually.
So that it just, this is the whole thing. I had to bring this back. I had to open up. Look at this thing. You know, it's in there. It's in there, and like it's just a re-education through our kids of dismantling God from their lives. Pretty.
So are you
Yeah, 'cause you're a
trying to
Catholic.
basically fight what you're trying to propose is fighting Theosophical Society, New Age religion by then forcing the Christian religion into schools? Is that where
Oh,
you're
no,
trying to go with this thought?
No, this has nothing to do with like education on the Bible's end. This was just, people warning children and even not even children, just people throughout the Bible and stories throughout the Bible of people being warned, like, hey, the serpent will come in just like it did to Eve and said, hey, this is a way of kind of like getting away from God. My pastor says this a lot, and he tells us that science is just catching up to God. That's one of his things he says a lot. And I 100% agree, because he is the creator. So
Yeah.
that's all it is. When we can explain things like that, it's God.
That's
Tip-
literally
man's
God of
just-
the gaps, and
We're
that's
putting-
not a good argument.
Man is just putting his words on certain things that God has already created.
I wanted to expound on this a little bit, and the reason why I brought up the Pledge of Allegiance. So I mentioned reading, writing, and arithmetic, because that's really what it used to be understood as. But if you allow one devil in, you allow them all. And so when we send people into the public spaces, the thing about a public space is what that means is it's freedom. Now there's liberty, which means that there's still going to be rules according to what we all agree upon. But that freedom allows us a massive amount of leeway in order to exchange ideas. When it comes to little children, most people will say, look, I don't want you teaching my children anything about your theology or secular ideals, anything like that. I just want them to know how to read, write, and do math. That's what I want them to learn in these public spaces. And so the reason I brought up the Pledge of Allegiance is because it specifically added that in, the point about God in the 50s. Now, before that, it wasn't in there. God wasn't in there before the 50s. And so the reciting of that pledge, you're not reciting the same thing that your forefathers recited. So understand that things change according to what we deem is appropriate. But when you begin to add ideological preferences in, what you're doing is you are actually now at that point delving into what Ben has brought up, which is this theosophical viewpoint of we're just going to broad spectrum it a little bit. We're not going to tell them exactly what we want them to believe, but we're going to teach them the ideologies as little children, where parents will step in and say, no, I don't even want you teaching them the ideologies, because on one hand you say teach them about that God, but then that's when someone else steps in, will teach them about this other ideology, and that other ideology could be something along the lines of something extremely degenerate, and I'm sure that everybody here knows what I'm talking about when I say extremely degenerate. Okay, so the ideology behind that, you're putting that thought into the child's mind. Now, you are welcome to put that thought into your child's mind at home, if it's your child. But I don't want it in my child's thought. I don't want it to be put into their mind. Just as many would say the same thing about your God. So when they go to these public schools, we have to just remove it all and say reading, writing, and arithmetic. And beyond that, if you want to send them to a private schooling or bring over a tutor or teach them yourself, that's on you. But my tax dollars, your tax dollars, they're all going to the same place. And then all of our children are going to the same place. So the very basics of essentially how to live in the world, that's about it. If you start getting past that and getting into the thinking part, like emotional stuff, what they call SEL, you're breeding into their minds emotions about a certain thing. That's where the pledge comes in. I pledge allegiance means that I will, above no others, have allegiance. I will, above no others, have allegiance to this nation. That's okay. You can believe that. But allegiance is a belief. That's a loyalty. Loyalty is a belief. And when you get into loyalties, now we're really talking about something very powerful, because loyalty is actually supposed to be a virtue, something prior to reason. And then you're stating perpetually, constantly, every single day you're in grade school, that loyalty is owed to a flag, a nation, under a God, under God of one nation. I mean, even within Christian doctrine, the Abrahamic covenant is that Abraham would become a father to a nation of nations. So there's not just one nation. So even as a Christian, one would recognize, hopefully, that pledge is to a false idol and to a lie. If you are pledging to one nation under God, then that is a lie. And if I see one lie, I'm not saying it, right? I'm not going to do the lie thing. That's just me, and I don't want my children doing it either. And if I send them to the school, I don't want them indoctrinated into that. Now, if you choose to do so, more power to you. But understand that if my child is there, my child will not say it.
That's exactly how I feel about damn near every other ideology that these dumbass liberals or Democrats or anti-Jesus or anti-American people try to put in our everyday way of living. Hey, you can do it over there.
Yeah.
Clay, I want to push back on you for a second. Now, I'm going to ask first. Remember, we're both, Christians here, so don't go too hard on me, and try not to use the Bible too much, because I'm not well versed in that. I think we can make this into a more grounded argument. Don't take the Pledge of Allegiance.
You're asking a lot, sir. You're asking a lot.
I only asked for two things. Don't take the Pledge of Allegiance so literal. So I'll tell you how I see the Pledge of Allegiance. First, we have to understand, like, this nation was founded under Christian beliefs. That's one of the reasons why we probably incorporate it into our Pledge of Allegiance. but we also do grant through the First Amendment right the freedom to practice other religions. But the Pledge of Allegiance parts in the Pledge of Allegiance itself is just saying, like, you hold your values to American ideas, and if America gets in a conflict with another nation, you're not going to go ahead and sell your nation out, sell America out. Treason to the nation they're having a conflict with. You know what I mean? So don't take the Pledge of Allegiance too literal.
Well, I
I
think
do.
I think where Clay was putting in an argument here, though, is you got to understand in the 50s during the Cold War, one of the things that they used to try and propagandize the United States on how evil the Soviets were was the adding of God to a bunch of things, including into the Pledge of Allegiance. So the Pledge of Allegiance was there before. It just wasn't one nation under God. That part got added in as Cold War propaganda. So he's saying he agrees with the pledging to the United States, although maybe not without reason ahead of time. Like
Right.
if the United States was doing some very off things, you're not going to necessarily co-sign that. So he's adding reason into it, but he's also stating that the God thing should not have been added. And I agree with Clay's point 100%.
Correct.
That this was all
I would agree with that.
Perfect,
Yeah,
man. Thank
I
you.
would agree with that. All right, yeah, all right. I try to give pushback because I saw in the comments there's echo chamber, and so I try to find a reason to fucking disagree with you. But I misunderstood your fucking argument anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, and again, just to be sure on that, like the public school, again, ought be for the education of reading, writing, and arithmetic. Physical sports can be added in. I don't mind that. There are things that ought be electives that are what's it called necessary electives. I forget what the first word is, but forced electives, whatever it is. And then there's the optional electives. But the optional electives, right? That's where if you want to add like a philosophy course into grade school. Of course, we're talking about grade school because grade school is required for all parents. The parents must send their kids to grade school or homeschool them, one or the other, or have them in because of the truancy thing. Well, in order for you to do that, like a optional elective, fine. But as soon as you make it a forced course, then you're forcing the ideology, and that's where I have a problem with it. And the pledge fits there too. Well, it's not the pledge itself; it's the pledge under God. But also, I mean, even the first word under the first word, I pledge, two pledges, second word, to pledge something. You understand that means I give all loyalty to this. And I do take it very literal because as someone who believes that Christ is king, I believe and I take his words very seriously. He said, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. So if I'm going to say something, I expect that that's going to be what my actions are, right? If I say I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do that thing, right? So if I pledge my allegiance to a thing, like I give it all the reverence I want, like I can. It's fully revered in its position as a leader in the free world. I see that completely. But to pledge allegiance,
I could solve your dilemma.
It's not a dilemma. It's not a dilemma.
I disagree with that, Big Frog.
It's literally just one. It's literally just one word that needs to be changed. Instead of under God, just say as one nation. It's
if you took it back to that, then it would help. But still, you're still going to have to contend with the pledge because a pledge is loyalty. It's giving full loyalty to a thing.
Your country, exactly. Is that bad?
Jody, your Timu Wi-Fi is giving out on you.
Hello?
Clay, I'm leaving this up on the screen. I'd like the panel to
Yeah. I'm going to say no, but go ahead.
No, I'd like
That's
the
my
panel
simple
to
answer.
react to it.
And same reason.
Geyer, on the bottom of the screen, there's a. What are your thoughts,
No.
Ant?
Hell no.
Mick?
No, I don't agree with that. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. Did they ever implement that?
The Supreme Court went against it in 1980, and in the last like 5 years, a number of states have tried to pass laws to do an end around on that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I believe you can teach morality without including God, because I think that's why they wanted to do the Ten Commandments in it.
Jody?
My personal opinion, I don't think that any religion should be taught and forced in our child's mind.
Tiberius?
I actually don't care.
Honest opinion.
Real quick, can I expand on what I just said? I just said I believe you can teach morality without God. I'm not saying we can't learn objective morality from God. I just wanted to expand on that real quick because I realized I kind of made a critical mistake in my statement. So I just wanted to expand on that. You can teach morality in schools without God, but I believe objective morality is through God. If that makes sense.
I
But
think
why are
it's
we teaching
simpler than
morality
all
in
that.
schools?
So I think it's much simpler than this because if we start, so the public schools are a government institution. We start letting them pick what religious lessons are taught in the schools. It's effectively the religion choosing what religion is practiced in the country as a whole. And then that essentially dissolves the freedom of religion part of the First Amendment without actually having to go through all the rigmarole of, bring the states together to abolish it. No.
Yeah,
why are we
any
teaching
school-
morality in schools?
Any
Huh?
school that tries to pass this should lose all funding whatsoever, and then they're basically a private school. At which point they can do that. I agree that there's a set of moral principles that a lot of Christians would argue that do want this. Obviously not these guys, but some of the ones that do want this would argue the morality portion of it. But the very first commandment is thou shalt not worship any God before me. So this is the first thing you're teaching them. You're just encoding them with Christianity at that point, and in a nation that strictly forbids that shit.
Yeah, but I have a question. Should morality, not just morality in itself, be taught in school? Or
right and wrong should be taught in
morals?
school.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the basic social, because what we consider morality, and this is a whole nother argument, but really at least the way our legal system works, our morals are built off of our social system and our social experiences collectively throughout history. So
Turn on the
you're
light to see if you can find here.
Open mic.
I have a flashlight.
don't
Lone wolf.
steal, don't kill other people, don't sexually assault other people, things like that. These are basic things that our society doesn't allow anyways. So should we be teaching those things? Sure. Should we be teaching the more specific moralities of Christianity, like you can only find salvation through Jesus, things like that? Absolutely not. But the things that our society functions on, 100%.
Well, that's why I said, and Clay, I'll come right to you next. I am not advocating for religious morality. I'm saying morality in general. Go ahead, Clay.
And I would say no. Okay? Just like out in the regular public spaces, and even in your home, we have what's called legal consequences. Your morality ought be taught to you by your parents and those around you that your parents allow to teach you morality. Outside of that, morality, like wherever your parents allow morality to be taught, Nowhere else. And I don't care if it's grandma and grandpa, brother and sister. I don't care. If mom and dad says you don't get to teach them that, then they don't get to learn. What happens is you, if you're a child, learn morality. Okay? And then that reflects in the schoolyard, in the public schoolyard. Now, if you have been taught properly morality at home through your parents and those that your parents have allowed you to be taught through, then that being reflected, you will then not kill, steal, and all that. Or murder, actually, not killing. Okay, it's defense, fine, whatever. But murder, stealing, those things that we consider immoral, you will have already developed those moralities. And if you haven't, and you end up doing something, teaching you does nothing. Okay? Teaching you, I'm not going to be able to teach you, but you should, what have happened to you is you should be put into jail. Punitive. There's a punishment for acting inappropriately. And you, as an individual, even as a child, from growing all the way up, develop what we call a conscience. Okay? This is actually very scriptural, actually. But beyond that, even the philosophers understand that. And when you commit crimes, real crimes, you should definitely be punished. Like I'm all about equal justice under the law. I love our 14th Amendment. I think it works really well in that. I also disagree with it in many other ways. But you cannot teach a child outside of their parents. In my humble opinion, you actually can't even do that. I don't even believe their job. You can't even do that. I believe that the parents are responsible for the teaching and that the children are responsible for the learning, and that's how that's supposed to work. It's the design, in my opinion. But again, that teaching doesn't happen in the schools, and so if a child acts inappropriately, he should be punished. This is why we have in-school suspension and full suspension. Go ahead.
I go back to my original question, and Clay, we're probably going to get into an argument over this, but that's all right. Not like it hasn't happened before.
Just run him over, Spin. It's all right.
You know, when the motherfucker was here, I tried. He got out of the way too quick. Anyway, and I didn't have my piranhas. You're muted, rookie.
Who, me? Yeah.
No, Ben.
Ben. Oh, okay.
Goddamn cat sitting in front of the button. You need to put a turbo button on that little fucking chair of yours. Then
I know. I know.
Little nitrous oxide.
Well, Clay, you're circumventing. You in my opinion, you're circling back around to the religious aspect of morals. Take the religious take it completely out of your vocabulary, which I know it's very hard for you to do. But if you take that out of your vocabulary, is it morally right to smack the shit out of another human being? The answer is well, but a young child
depends.
You're going to tell a young child no.
Excuse me, sir. If that young child is beating up on another one, I might run over and smack the shit out of him.
I understand, but morally, is it correct?
Bro, if one child
is it morally fucking correct?
Bro. If one child bigger than the other one, and this is something my stepdad taught me, said you don't let the bigger one beat up on the little one. It's really that simple. You don't let it happen. As the adult, you don't let it happen.
But right. Okay. So when they become to an adult and they're taught their whole life that the big kid gets the shit beat out of them, where do they end?
If he's beating up on the little one.
I know the caveat. If. But where does the bully end up as an adult?
Well, hopefully he learns from the punitive. And that's not a teaching, right? That's discipline. That's called discipline.
Right.
That's
Okay.
learning.
Okay. I get it now. I get where you're going with it. I'm just, I'm saying,
Well, think of it like this. You are a human being. You saw two animals, two small animals, possibly dogs. One of them is attacking the one. What do?
you pull them apart.
You pull them apart.
Or
What
attempt
if the
to
one
pull
just
them.
doesn't want to be pulled apart? You're going to have to restrain that motherfucker somehow. You're going to knock him out. You have to do something.
Okay.
Dogs, let them duke it out.
You could do
Well,
that,
I
yeah.
mean, here's the thing. In today's society,
And further, what if the dog that's provoking continues to do that day after day?
there's different ways of dealing with that too.
Well,
But
if you go to
in today's
UK, you'll see a
society-
human.
Through
doing
force.
the
Here's
same
where
on
we
thing.
all
there.
find
Hold on
out
a minute.
that here's where we all find out Spin is a blazing liberal.
Oh,
He
for
is.
fuck's
Oh
sakes.
my God, he is.
Hey, you know what's
No.
funny?
Don't beat
I'm
your
about-
kids.
It's
Go ahead.
funny because I'm about to prove my point because I disagree with you, Clay, on what you stated about the schools implementing morals, and I'm about to disagree with you, Spin, about what you just disagreed with Clay on, and I'm going to prove one point by the disagreement of both of you. Let me land the plane real quick. So, Clay, can you implement a punishment without explaining why they're being punished?
No.
So if a kid does something bad in school, they should get punished, right? ISS, out of school suspension, whatever the punishment is, they should be punished, right?
Oh, you talking about for the schools?
Yeah.
No. The when it comes to the public system, no, there is no explanation needed. When it comes to the parents and the discipline
hold
there,
up.
yes.
Let me back you up right quick. You just said you can't punish a kid without explaining why they're being punished.
Well, I
So
thought
they
you were
need
on the
to be-
context of parents because
My
you
fault.
switched it from the
Okay, that's
context
my
we were
fault.
using. No,
That's
but
my
no,
fault.
in
I
the
should've
public
just-
square, no, I don't think any explanation is needed in the public square, sir.
That doesn't follow. I don't think any punishment should be given unless you can give the reason for that punishment. They need to know why they're being punished, and I think we would all agree if
I
a kid
disagree.
beat up. Well, hold on. We can disagree. Let me get to Spin, real quick. Yeah. So, what you said, you
You
won't,
really
you
want to
won't.
argue with me, boy?
I'm fixing to get off, man. I'm looking for trouble right now, man.
Hey,
we
I've
don't
been
need
on
to
ahead,
know
all
Sauerkraut.
day, man.
Jeez, man. If you're gonna
That's
leave,
actually
leave. Don't get
sauerkraut.
off.
Go
After you
ahead.
eat this long hair
Bert,
hippie alive,
ah.
I'll eat him alive afterwards. Let's go.
So
Go ahead.
Spin, your argument is you don't believe if a 15-year-old kid is smacking around a 10-year-old kid, you want to push that fucker on the ground and stop being a bully.
No,
Yeah, I would
I
disagree.
would
All right,
pull them. I would pull them apart.
and if he keeps going, so let me use an extreme example. If someone goes after somebody else with a knife, would you try to stop that attack?
Say that again.
If someone, and this is an extreme example, but I believe sometimes extreme examples can prove the simple example. If someone tries to attack somebody else with a knife, would you try to stop that attack?
Well, given my situation, probably not.
In general.
Oh, in general, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think the same logic can apply, especially because it's not that severe of a situation compared to you stopping somebody with a knife. You would go ahead and restrain or possibly punch a dude in the chest and make him lay flat on his back if he's being up on somebody 50 pounds lighter than him, right?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Hey, I try.
That's
I try.
fair.
Clay,
If you don't know, you don't know.
yeah. Clay,
I
you
mean,
get what
I'm
saying,
always
right?
if I don't know an answer, I don't have a thought worth saying. I'm not going to say it.
That might be
other
the only
than-
conservative view you have, bro.
It's
Admitting
all
what
Jody's
you don't
fault.
know.
That's Jody's fault.
Hey, let's get Lone Wolf in here. She hasn't said nothing yet.
Well, here. I wanted to say this before you rudely interrupted me, Kraut. It's all Jody's fault.
You're just number one, dude. I was
Yeah,
just giving you the number one
I
signal.
know. It's okay, Jody. It's okay, Jody. I'll get you back. I'll figure something else to name you. You might not like it. We
Yeah,
let the
cocksucker
schools
changed my
now.
name. I came in with a unique name, and you fucking changed it.
I did. I changed it. You're damn right I did. Ben told me to do it. It's all Ben's fault. Well, wait a minute. It was Ben's fault before you came in. Now it's all your fault. What I wanted to say though is, and I've seen it. I've seen it, and Geyer and I have talked about this within length. Why are we letting the schools technically raise our children? And Geyer, it was just a couple weeks ago we were having this conversation on the phone, and if I go ahead, Ben, fuck with me. Go ahead. I know that's what you're doing. Raging liberal. Watch. See, I knew it. I knew it. Anyway, that's all right. I'll get you back. I'll get you back. Don't worry.
Payback, bitch, spin.
Anyway, Geyer, I want to and I want to
Fed.
invite the whole panel. I mean, if you're not homeschooling your children, you're really you're raising them from the time they get home until the time they go back to school. But if you're homeschooling, you can control the narrative. I think everybody would agree with that one.
Yeah.
But technically, excuse me, technically, the schools are raising our children. Do I agree with that? No. But that is a fact of life, because if we don't send our children to school, we get our asses in trouble. Consequences, right?
Got to make a choice.
Well, I can tell you this. Well, the schools are raising, well, not yours specifically, but your children. And I think that's the mentality that we kind of gonna have is, they're not raising my children that way because my children think freely. They understand basic, common sense and all of that. Unfortunately, the ones that are being raised are the parents that are the sheep too. And if you allow your kids to,
I don't disagree with that. Brandon, I told you that. I don't disagree with college. That. But when we send our children to school, we expect there are three things that we expect, right? They get there, they're safe while they're there, and they get home. Right? As long as you have those three caveats,
I know the rest are covered.
The rest are covered, right?
That's what it should be.
In your state, and unfortunately in Lone Wolf and Ant's state, from what I've heard, the narrative changes depending on what school you go to.
Oh, you didn't even have to tell me what state Lone Wolf was from. I could have already guessed it. Yeah. If I were to go to Arizona,
Ant,
my kids would have a different education.
Oh, Ant.
Yes.
Do I need to?
No.
Do I need to crack your skull?
You better wake up and apologize if you think about it again.
Well, you better go in the next room because French fries are on order. Do you know anything about that?
He brought him to lunch today. I already told you that. You didn't get to
I thought this was supposed to happen yesterday, Ant. This was supposed to happen yesterday. Anyway, so just remember, I have the fly swatter. Anyway, moving on. I just don't feel that, well, many people don't feel that they have the skills to homeschool a child, right?
That's how I felt. That's why our daughter went to public schools.
Okay.
I got
Well-
a buddy named Ben Edel who just sends his kids to public schools because he says they're badasses, and he's at radical exposure, and he's teaching them well at home. And this can kind of correlate with that. Is if you teach your kids what they're supposed to learn at home and morals and values and all this, what is not taught at school or supposed to be taught at school, then your kids are going to be able to handle anything. And then school is just another road bump, a speed bump when it comes to dealing with things in life. Because first you got school, and then hopefully you don't got college, because college is a scam. And then you move on to a job, and then you have to deal with Jenny, who cried last night because her boyfriend. And you're 32 years old, and you're working with somebody who's 18, who has no education, no experience, no nothing, and you have to deal with all that. All meanwhile, while you're focused on reading, writing, and arithmetic with your job. Like, it's those little speed bumps that you have to learn how to deal with. And if you don't have a solid home life, you're not going to have a solid outdoor life. I see that every single day when I go down into Portland, Oregon, and I see people where there's fatherless homes, there's motherless homes, there's no structure in these homes growing up, because it's just terrible. And when we talk about this, the word I can't pronounce, that's exactly what they want, right? Because it's generation after generation after generation. 10 generations from now, we're all going to be dumb blobs following along to the biggest blob that we see.
We already have some of that right now. Do you know that there is adults out there that don't know who Thomas Jefferson is right now?
Who?
Or George Washington?
Yeah.
That is
There's kids.
So surprising. There is I work with some teenagers just graduated high school. Don't even know who George Washington is.
Bro, there's people that don't even know who Nirvana is. And that's even closer in time. Like, there's kids that don't even know there's kids that don't know who SpongeBob is.
Well, I mean,
did you guys know that?
I mean, I don't know that I would
Did you guys
compare
know that
not
Mount
knowing a rock band to not knowing the fucking first president of the United States.
Well,
That's
it's the
quite-
idea. It's the idea
I
of
think
it. It's
the
like,
idea
Do you guys know that Mount
not knowing
Rushmore?
your past is they don't even. My daughter's in high school and they don't even. She didn't learn about how the country even got started until high school. I learned
that just
in
shows that they're trying to
elementary school.
infiltrate. That shows they're trying to infiltrate every aspect of our lives, our education, our entertainment. I mean, even our cartoons, because these kids now, they don't even, like I said, if they don't know what SpongeBob is, have you seen the cartoons that are being created lately? It's disgusting. It's weird. It's, we thought our cartoons were weird. And it's the same thing as going and burning books,
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
we-
I
we-
think you're a
we
little
had
young for
Ren
my
and Stimpy
cartoons.
You're
Bro.
coming up next, Jody. I'm going to give it to you. I want to hear from Jody real quick, and then we'll give it to Guy or whoever. Go ahead, Jody.
Take it away from me.
So first and foremost, Mount Rushmore was created by Mother Nature. It's a natural formation of our forefathers.
It's fucking Jody's fault.
No,
All
I
Jody's
wanted to
fucking
retarded.
Man, I thought I brought
But
nothing
no, I
to
had
a
a
panel.
legit
Good
question about
Lord.
schooling.
And the Lincoln Memorial appeared by a magician.
And the Washington Monument is a
I
tribute to
always
Bill
bring
Clinton.
light to this.
Well, I don't know about
All
the
aliens.
Light to the situation.
Aliens brought the Sphinx.
I don't know about the Lincoln Memorial, but I remember when that magician made the Statue of Liberty disappear.
Yeah, Dave was that David Blaine?
David Copperfield. if it was?
Copperfield. Yeah,
Copperfield.
Copperfield.
It was
Yeah.
David Blaine that stood on top of the Luxor building. No, that was
Right.
Chris Angel.
No, that was
Chris Angel.
there. You go. Yeah.
David
I
Blaine
can't
made
lie.
an ace of
I
spades
have
come
a
out of my ass.
Eyeliner.
It doesn't David Copperfield
What?
have like some fucking controversy about him? Like, isn't he into some wild
Yes.
shit right now? Like, I used to watch that motherfucker back in the 90s, bro.
David Copperfield just got sued because one of his tricks backfired and some dude fell and like broke his ankle or shit. Yeah.
Damn.
That's wild.
But I had a legit statement about
Go ahead, Jody.
homeschooling.
Make your
My
legit statement. It's all your fault.
You know, legit
My
ain't even a
cousin-
legit word. It's legitimate. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead,
don't
Jody.
give a
That'd be
fuck.
like
You know, I'm
Reading,
from
writing, and
California.
arithmetic, man. I was
It's a
taught.
fucking word.
That would actually be legitimately, by the way.
I'm gonna
I
slap
wasn't
the
taught
I don't
well.
care.
All right,
Clay.
both your mouths.
Go ahead,
I
Jody.
was homeschooled.
Yeah, I could tell. But my
Oh,
cousin
shit.
literally was
Actually,
Was that Holmes at Waffle House?
I want to say
yeah.
that again.
you got homeschooled.
Legit.
You
But
said, Jody, you were homeschooled.
no, my cousin did, and
kissing
he's
cousin?
he's a very successful plumber, and he's a water engineer too now. But he has no interaction skills. Like he cannot
What's-
make friends for
What's
the
that
life
an
of.
upgrade from Water Engineer
Because-
1?
He likes to lay pipe, Jody. Is that what you're saying?
Get out of there.
You guys could try to make fun. I'm being legit.
Hey, Jody.
No,
I'm
so-
saying
sorry.
that
Go ahead,
homeschooling.
go ahead.
Trying to
homeschool-
bring up an
home-
actual point, guys. Come on, let him finish his fucking statement.
I'm saying
Joe-
that homeschooling is a horrible idea because he's very fucking smart, but he has no social skills. Like he cannot make friends for the life of him. He has to literally pay for, adult interactions because he cannot find a girlfriend. That's my
Don't
point.
we all?
is-
Do you bring your kids out to parks
You
so they can
do.
socialize with little kids, or to like family get-togethers and they can socialize with the cousins and whatnot?
This is
You
why
gotta
you gotta
pay
have
for
a
I'm
lot of
talking about my-
kids.
Pay for the burgers, pay for the music, pay for the house. You think all of a sudden you're not
Goddamn.
paying for that shit?
If families
Well,
stopped having one or
apparently
two
some
kids and they
people-
had like 4 or 5 kids, you'd have kids to raise your fucking kids around. So stop being pussies and have more kids.
Right?
Facts. I
Well,
got
the
3. I
fact
think
Guys,
I
is,
think I did my
people
goal.
aren't like you.
The fact
Hey,
is,
God.
this was kind of a legitimate concern at one point in time, although I would not call it legitimate because fucking I'm not sure what socialization skills you're learning in high school outside of being Lord of the Flies. Fucking it's not a good socialization spot. But I do understand that argument held some water probably when your cousin was being homeschooled. In today's age, a homeschooled kid can sign up for any of the sports, any of the extracurricular activities, fucking any of those type of things, including just like if they want to go play football or do any of those kind of things. All those things are available for those kids. So where that might have been a thing years ago, I don't see where that's a reasoning at this point.
Also, if I
Yep.
could add in on that same part of what Ben's saying, like the Boys and Girls Club, if you are a teenager, you get to go free. You can go hang out for a few hours after school hours and be around other teenagers because they don't charge for that. So even if you're a homeschooled child, you could go from like 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 and be around other teenagers.
Well,
and just-
Or you can
I'm
go
gonna-
do
I'm gonna-
drugs like I did. And they don't
I'm
do
going to
that.
push back on that 1 second.
Well, I'll
Clay.
piggyback first before
Go
because I
ahead.
want to make sure to add this in as well.
Go ahead.
It's not like it used to be where rural was extremely rural. Recently, you can see, especially where the in the different various states, the states and the National Forestry are doing very good at carving up good areas to go have these types of activities. Like when you are like even in rural areas, it's not quite as far to go out. You know what I'm saying? And have good times with other people. And there's a lot of people.
Did you just say
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if the Boys and Girls Club comes and picks the kids up or whatever, but
you gotta drop them?
I'm not giving it. But the excuse would be, well, we don't have time to take them here and take them there, so it's just easier to give them a tablet or whatever and let them get on TikTok, which I fucking hate TikTok. Or get on game systems or whatever and have those somewhat typical interactions, but it's through a headset and a controller. If I'm
That is
correct.
not a typical interaction. That's how we fucking fucked up an entire generation of kids.
I'm
Fuck their
saying
fucking controller.
I'm saying, Ben, I'm
Throw,
not
throw that
talking.
shit away. Throw the headset
No.
away.
Gen
Oh
Z.
yeah, yeah. Throw the
Gen Z,
fucking
for
headset
sure.
away. Throw the tabby away. Throw their little fucking iPhone
Get a
away.
fucking bicycle.
Go talk to your goddamn neighbor. Go meet the neighbor kids down the road on your
Throw
fucking
2 sticks
bicycle. Don't
together.
come back till the lights turn on, motherfucker.
Go fishing.
Unfortunately,
I agree
nowadays,
with that,
your
but
liberal
it's just-
agenda,
but it's
whichever
more-
you want.
What I'm trying to say is it's more convenient to give them the tablet, to give them the computer, give them the Xbox and whatever else, PlayStation, that they're and it is learned behavior that's how you interact.
And then they don't take
Here's
it
the
away when
problem.
it's time for punishment as well. That part
That's
too.
true, because you punish a kid, you ground them to their room. That's a fucking sweet pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got an 85-inch TV, a fucking PlayStation, and everything. So what are they really learning? Oh yeah. There
Why
are kids
are you
out there
putting
that
those things in their room?
because it's
Holy
people
crap, an
that-
85-inch in a
Yeah.
14-year-old's room? What
Yeah.
the fuck are you doing? You're a horrible parent.
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
Bro, 85-inch? That shit better be in the living room, maybe at the best, but even then, like 85-inch? Come on, dude. That's in like the office so that I can do my goddamn presentations or something. I don't know, but in
I
all
don't-
seriousness, it's like
My wife
60,
is goddamn
disagree.
85 inches.
60-inch,
Clay.
right? Maybe.
They shouldn't
the living
even have
room?
in you know what? When
Give him
I
the inches. He needs it.
I was in high school before I got a fucking TV. I didn't have fucking cable in my bedroom. I had the fucking rabbit ears, and I went to sleep listening to fucking Johnny Carson. Okay, that's how fucking old I am.
You are pretty old.
And Jay
yeah, I
Leno.
lived in the woods, bro. So hey, we had TV though. We really actually had TV. We had a whole wall of movies, and we had PlayStation and Nintendo and all that. But guess what? Ben's talking about is exactly what happened. You didn't just fucking go play video games and watch movies all day. You went the fuck outside, and you didn't come back until the lights came on.
Yeah,
Or
but if you
there
do
was
that
no
now-
lights out there.
Yeah.
But if
There
you
was
do
no-
that now,
Yeah.
Clay, you get
great.
CPS chasing your ass.
Or you'll get great.
Yeah,
not always-
yes.
Or a bed. That's how it is now. I
Not
had my
always.
daughter
You get allergic to
outside. I could
gluten.
see her from the
If you
window.
go
Somebody tried to
outside,
call
you get allergic
CPS
to
on me once.
gluten.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why CPS gets called on a lot of people is because children lie. That's why.
I'm calling
I don't.
CPS on you,
I do
Clay.
not disagree with that one bit.
That
Calling
happens a
CPS
lot.
right now.
And other nosy
I wanna
parents
ask a question
lie
for-
too.
for
So,
everyone.
oh, they
How-
didn't feed you last night anything but a ketchup sandwich you didn't eat. You know, like, oh my God, we're gonna send CPS over there. Tell you what, here's the thing: CPS. There's a lot of like things that are anecdotal being thrown around here, but the basic understanding here is still that as parents, are you teaching the morals and are the children learning them? Because if they're not learning them, then maybe some discipline is in order, right? Lies are lies, and if you lie, punishment needs to be administered. But if you're afraid to administer punishment, do you really expect that any child ever is going to learn ever? And I've met some cops now that will not get involved when a parent is actually administering real discipline. And those are good cops. Those are good cops.
Figure it out, Spin.
I got a question for you, Clay.
Say what now?
Put that.
I got a question
cigarette
for you.
out.
Shut up, Kraut.
That wasn't even me. That was
how do you
Ian.
how do you feel about arming our teachers?
It depends on which teacher, but yes,
All teachers.
not all teachers. No.
I'm
Not
getting
all-
lost, so I'll answer
wait a
that
minute.
question.
Not all teachers would have the demeanor to be armed.
Well, if they had the proper training.
I'll give you an
and
example.
et
I'll give you an
cetera.
example. There
I
was
mean, when
like
I-
an
hold on,
80-year-old.
hold on.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. There was an 80-year-old teacher, obviously very intelligent. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ran his class this way. I think he did a really good job with the way he ran it. He was my U.S. history teacher. 80 years old with Parkinson's. Okay, and I think I've brought him up before. Is that he would literally have us copy the lesson from the book, write down onto a piece of paper, and then on Fridays he would have us watch the Patriot. That was his lesson. That was every single class. Would I have him armed? Fuck no. No, he's 80 years old with
mean, why not?
Parkinson's. Smart. He's a teacher, but he's got Parkinson's, bro. You think that if a bad guy walks up, if a bad kid, like a big ass dude,
if he's having you
walks
guys
up,
watch the Patriot, at
no,
least
no,
he's
no,
asking
stop,
that
stop.
and
Like,
do
you
something
don't even,
instead
you're
of
not even
fucking-
hearing it. You're just thinking about the Patriot and going, oh, he's patriotic. I definitely want him armed. No, he's
No.
80 years old
I'm
with
saying that he
Parkinson's.
would- He's
80 years old with
Yeah, he's
Parkinson's.
80 years old. He ain't got nothing else. He ain't got nothing else to live for. Why wouldn't he defend his fucking?
He's 80 years old with Parkinson's. Did you hear that part?
Whether he could hit the target.
It's
or
not about him
I
hitting a
guarantee
target.
He
It's
would fucking
you're-
try.
Bro, are you retarded? Are you
Boy,
retarded?
I'm exiting the panel. Let me answer Jody. I'm exiting the
Go ahead.
panel because I can answer from experience. Jody, you're fundamentally miss what Clay is saying, but I'll let him finish it after I say my piece. I was
I know what
in
you- I know.
hold up, Jody. I was in let's say different schools for people with behavior problems. You know what I mean? I was in quite a few of them.
Yes, sir.
Some of them legit had, one, maybe two cops throughout the day, patrolling the schools. Maybe not all day, maybe they'll skip and then come back like in a couple hours, whatever. Or security guards, or not security guards, like hall monitors, but they were security guards. They were just doing that as like,
Campies.
a side gig. Now, those people, obviously cops got guns, right? But the hall monitors that actually have permission to put their hands on you if you're cutting up, I believe those people with the proper training could have guns. But teachers having guns? Hell no, bro. And I'm a real big Second Amendment advocate, but teachers should not be carrying firearms. With that, I'm out. Ben, thanks for having me. Spin, Clay, Lone Wolf, nice meeting you.
Later,
Guyver, I'm gonna start calling you the Guyver, bro. Make me a car out of string and WD-40. And
No, you
take
gotta
it
call
easy.
me. You gotta call me Guy, bro.
Guy, all right, Guy. I don't know that guy. All right,
Guy
Guy.
show.
Take it easy, man.
Thanks,
Later,
Kyle,
Guy,
for
your
coming
show.
in.
So
Thanks for inviting me.
Ben, Clayton comes in with the two jewels over on the Benjamin Balderson channel. Thank you very much for those jewels,
What's up,
sir.
Clayton Gordon? What's up,
Much
brother?
appreciate it.
yeah, man. So
Go ahead, Clay.
could I just explain this one more time?